Hi there, I'm Ali from Dragon Fitness Coaching and Healing, and I'm a naturopathic practitioner. So I'm going to talk to you today about colds and flus. I'm seeing a lot of them at the moment, and I'm seeing a lot of people who are coming down with flu for long periods of time. They're bedridden. It's not just not good. It's not good, and it's not normal, and it's particularly unpleasant for the people concerned. So I'd just like to say that this is not medical advice. If you want medical advice, then go to see your doctor. This is my opinion as a naturopathic practitioner. So I'm going to start by talking to you a little bit about what colds and flus are. Many people think that colds and flus are things that we pick up. So you've got cold virus and flu virus, and you've got influenza A, B, C, D, whatever it is, and you've got COVID, and you've got all of these sorts of things. And according to mainstream medicine, we have all these viruses, and they're floating around. And if Joe Bloggs has a cold, then you might catch that cold from Joe Bloggs. And that's one theory, and that's called germ theory. So the germ theory says that there are lots of germs floating around, and if you're unlucky enough, you are going to come down with that particular disease that virus or even that bacteria is carrying. And some types of germ theory say that, if you've got a strong immune system, then you might not actually come down with that disease or that problem. And that can be, good immunity because you're very healthy and you do lots of great things, or it means that your vaccinations are up to date, or anything like that. However, I don't think that germ theory is correct. I believe in terrain theory. So germ theory was created by Louis Pasteur, the guy who developed pasteurization. And at the time, there was a guy called Béchamp, and they were both French. And Béchamp was discussing terrain theory, and Pasteur, he was discussing germ theory. And Pasteur was well-to-do, he was richer, he was more well-connected, and so his theories kind of came off, if you like. They got more well-received, especially as his theory meant that if you come down with a cold, then you've got to treat it with certain drugs. So people could have made money out of it. So that's a reason why his theories held water, as it were. It's a bit like the old, if you're old enough like me, remember the VCR tapes? It was either VHS or Betamax. Now, Betamax was actually a better system, but VHS, for some reason, was more it was marketed better, and it was picked up a lot more. And eventually, Betamax was obsolete, and you could only get VHS tapes. So that's a very kind of, it's a sort of kind of an analogy there. Doesn't necessarily mean the best is one that is picked up and is run with, if you see what I mean. So with terrain theory, what Béchamp and some other chaps at the time were suggesting was that it doesn't matter about, if there are bacteria or viruses around, and I'll come back to that in a second. If your body is healthy, you'll never get sick. Your immune system, or what I think is more of a cleansing, and your lymphatic system will just get rid of any, I don't know, let's say you eat some prawns and they're not very good, and there are some bacteria in the prawns and they make you sick. Your cleansing system will automatically get rid of that bacteria in the prawn, and it's not going to cause any real lasting problems. You might just be sick, and then it's fine. So essentially, when you're thinking about chronic health conditions, if your terrain is good, if your whole body is good, then you are going to be healthy. You're not going to be, you won't be sick. You won't come down with anything nasty. You won't, get cancer or anything like that, because your terrain is good. Now, some people think that certain conditions and some types of cancer, for example, are caused by viruses, and I don't believe that that's the case, because I don't believe that viruses are an actual thing, or not as they have been purported in virology, which you could actually say is also unicornology, because no virus has ever been isolated, ever, anywhere in the world. There have been many freedom of information requests sent to governments in every single country, and not one of them has come back and said that yes, we have truly isolated a virus. Some governments might come back and say that yes, we've isolated it, but it's not true isolation, because their form of isolation is by taking a sample of someone who is sick. So you take their snot basically, and you mix it on monkey kidney cells, often, sometimes with cancer cells, sometimes with antibiotics, and then whatever comes out of this gloopy soup is apparently a virus. Now, I think that viruses exist. I think somatids exist. I think bacteria exist. And I think that parasites and mold and everything like that exists, but it's kind of like a life cycle. So whatever kind of somatid exists in your body depends upon what needs to happen in your body at that particular time. I think that viruses per se are an exudative, if I can say that word, organism. So it's, or not even an organism, it's, so let's take your cell, for example. Your cells are getting rid of toxins every single minute of every single day. Just like your car, when you run your car, you've got exhaust fumes coming out the back. And just as if you work in a kitchen, when you're creating food, you're going to have potato scrapings or whatever, eggshells. You're going to have rubbish that comes out of the production, and our cells are producing energy the whole time. So there will be toxins that come out of that whole process. And I think that viruses are what comes out of the cell, and people think it's the virus that's breaking into the cell, but it's actually the other way around. That's my theory, and that's what many people think at the moment. So this is a new kind of take on, the whole life cycle of somatids and, bacteria and everything like that. And the other thing to realize is that we have 37 trillion bacteria in our body, or as part of us. We have 30 trillion human cells. So we are more bacteria than human. So no, I know that's not a virus per se, but it's similar. It's a similar sort of thing. So we need kind of a good bacteria balance. We certainly don't need to take antibiotics that will wipe out a good proportion of our bacteria, because essentially what we're doing is we're wiping out a good proportion of ourselves. And what do people do when they have a cold or a flu? And if they've got a bit of a fever and they sneeze and they feel a bit crappy, that's fine. They'll probably kind of go, oh, it's fine. I'll take a few days off work. If they start to get like a really sore throat, or they're bringing up colourful phlegm from their chest, or the whole kind of flu kind of situation goes on and on and on, they may well go to the doctor, and the doctor may give them antibiotics for an infection. Now, that's fine, and I think that antibiotics should be used in life or death scenarios, and in life or death scenarios only. Because as I say, we have 37 trillion bacteria cells. So, going back to what I was saying about antibiotics, you don't really want to take them. You don't want to take them because colds and flus are your body's way of getting rid of the toxins. So ordinarily, we have a very good elimination system, we have a cleansing system, our lymphatic system is part of that, and it usually works very, very well. Sometimes, if we are chemically overloaded, now this can be chemicals from food or water or air or emotions or drugs or vaccines, this can overload our system, and our bodies then take to having a cold or a flu to get rid of the toxins. It's a way of your body telling you, hey, slow down, take a break, I need all the energy that I can get to get rid of all this stuff. And so it makes you feel crappy, it makes you feel fatigued, it makes you feel like you don't want to do anything, makes you lose your appetite because you don't want to waste money, don't want to waste energy, not money, don't want to waste energy into digesting food at this particular time. So, so your body produces these cold and flu symptoms, and it sometimes produces a fever, so it heats everything up to get everything moving just that little bit quicker, on purpose. So it's a very purposeful act. And what you're doing, if you take medicine or antibiotics or anything like that, you will suppress your symptoms. So let's take that. You've got a chesty cough, you're bringing up colourful phlegm, you've been feeling crappy. If you take antibiotics, you'll stop the symptoms. Because yes, what's causing the colourful phlegm is bacteria, is breaking down the toxins. And what you're doing by taking the antibiotics is you're stopping the bacteria from breaking the toxins down. So you're suppressing the symptoms. Whatever toxins you've got left that your body hasn't got rid of, they'll go into cells and fat cells and organs or wherever they want to live. And they'll come back. And they'll come back usually worse than what happened before. And sometimes, if you're like me in the past, where you took antibiotics after antibiotics after antibiotics, you'll come down with a chronic health condition and you'll wonder where on earth that came from. And you'll go, whoa, now I feel really bad. Now I really need to get to the bottom of this. So it's important to understand exactly what these drugs do. They suppress the detox that your body is doing. It's not about killing the bacteria, because the bacteria aren't the bad guys here, because excuse my doggies, your body has so many bacteria. You need your bacteria. It's not you against them. Do you really think that God would have created this amount of war waging, if you like, in our bodies? No, our bodies are amazing. Our bodies are perfect, and they work just perfectly as they are without bringing in any chemicals, because it's the chemicals that do the damage. And unfortunately, what's been happening most recently is that, let me just take a drink. What's been happening most recently is a lot of people have been taking, and that has been causing many long colds and flus, because your body is trying to get rid of the crap that's in the jab. And also, there are weird and wonderful conditions raising their ugly head as well. Unfortunately, there are turbo cancers. Unfortunately, people are just dropping. And a lot of it can be to do with this. I was looking earlier at a website and it showed me excess deaths across the world. In Hong Kong, where I am, in the Q1 of 2023, 17% over average. And I can't remember off the top of my head for the England and Wales and Scotland, but around about 17% is about the average. Singapore, it's up to like 35% across the board since beginning of 2022. So many countries have excess deaths. So where is this coming from? I mean, we are talking post-COVID days as well. We're not talking during COVID. So have a think. Have a think about that. Are we suppressing our body's detox response, or are we helping it along? So here are a few things that you can do if you do come down with a cold or a flu. So I've talked on many other videos about chlorine dioxide, and I think that this is one of the best ways that you can stop a cold or a flu in its tracks if you come out with cold symptoms. And if you have chlorine dioxide at home, take the 6+6 protocol, which is activate 6 drops. Take another 6 drops 2 hours later if you're still feeling crappy. If you're still feeling crappy in the next hour, take 2 activated drops every 15 minutes for 2 hours. And as long as you take that early enough, then you should knock whatever it is on the head. If you don't have chlorine dioxide or you don't take it early enough, then you can do other things. So you can take vitamin C. I really like liposomal vitamin C. Take it fasted and take it before about 30 minutes before food. Take vitamin D. Take 10 or 20,000 IUs per day of vitamin D, or get out in the sunlight. That would be even better. Get out in the sunlight with as least clothes on as possible. If you don't live in a sunny climate or it's not sunny, then just sit outside in the air for as long as you can. Ground, put your feet on the ground, bare feet on soil, grass, sand, concrete at a push, but ideally not. Take zinc as well, 50 milligrams a day. NAC is a great 1,000 milligrams of NAC a day. Glutathione as well, liposomal glutathione is a really good one to do. I would also advocate fasting as much as possible. If you're really hungry, make some green fresh juices or make some broth. Rest as much as you can, sleep as much as you can, skin brush, dry skin brushing, take enemas, take coffee enemas, take chlorine dioxide enemas, take herbal enemas, take detox baths, fill a hot bath with Epsom salts, with bicarb, with bentonite clay, with Himalayan salt or sea salt, apple cider vinegar. Heat your body up a little bit if you've got a fever. Work with the fever rather than against it. So have that hot bath. Put hot water bottles or heat packs on you. Bundle yourself up in blankets. Sweat it out. Obviously monitor it. Monitor the temperature, especially if you're looking at children. You don't want it to go too high, but a fever per se is not to be scared of. It's your body's way of trying to help along the detox. You can also take apple cider vinegar for a sore throat. But most of all is try not to take antibiotics, like I say, unless it's a life or death scenario. You can also take some herbs. There are many herbs that you can take, and you know, I don't want to talk about herbs too much here, but I stock an antibiotic formula of herbs, because if you take many herbs together, then they can be far more effective. So I hope this has helped you a little bit to understand a little bit more about how cold and flus work. You know, how our detox system, how our detox system works. And as always, if you've got any questions, then do drop me a line, ali@dragonfitnessandcoaching.com. I do have a book as well if you'd like to learn a little bit more about this, and the link is below. And yeah, if I can be of any further help, if you've got any questions, do leave me a comment. Do please like, share and subscribe this information here. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks a lot.